That was weird.
Are we connected?
Due to poor internet.
We need internet.
We do this on Wi-Fi all the time.
I know. And we're in our living room.
The dubbing is going to be off. Dubbing.
Oh my goodness. Oh my, you don't feel so hot today, do you?
I know, but that's all right.
Is that okay?
Yeah. I wanted to talk about a systemic problem in America. I'm totally joking.
As Al Capone?
In your marriage,
okay.
There's a systemic problem.
Systemic?
Systemic.
What does systemic mean?
Ongoing. A history of an issue. A problem.
All right. Well, there you go.
And it's really simple that you said, hey, I'm just going to interrupt you. Just ignore she exists. The problem is that you don't really put that much effort in your marriage. I know, because I don't put that much effort. I'm joking. But we're going to talk about a way to make you put more effort into your marriage. Yeah. And that would be?
Stay with me here. I don't want you to turn this video off as soon as I say it, because we got a few, stop it, a few details. What are you doing? Here's a really good tip that you should implement a habit into your life. Think of it this way. If you get a pet, obviously you have to care for the pet. Otherwise the pet dies. If you get a plant and you want the plant to live, you know, you could barely keep it alive. And a lot of people are barely keeping their marriage alive.
Who gets a dog and doesn't feed it?
Oh, there are people.
There are people.
And those pets die, and it's super, super sad. But I think those people are more concerned about feeding their pets than they are about keeping their marriage alive. Yeah. And if you do not work on your marriage, if you do not tend to it, it will die. And you'll be 10 years down the road going, there's nothing between us. We might as well just get a divorce. And the same goes for a plant. Which is kind of odd
because you put a ton of work, but when you're dating.
Yeah, there's a ton of work
going on. You put a ton of work when you're dating. You're calling, you're texting, you're videoing, you're going out on dates, you're doing things. And then when you get married, it's just, we don't need to do that anymore.
Did you just spit your gum out on the floor?
That's how people think of their marriage. Well, I got that piece of gum. Bleh. I don't need to chew it anymore. I mean, come on.
It gets old and
moldy. The cheese is old and moldy. What movie is that from?
I know. Anyway, so here's your tip for the week. Here is
just one tip.
This is really the tip, and we're going to give you a couple suggestions. Read a book a year on marriage, togetherness, sex, relationships, something that you can put into practice. Now, hear me out, because I know a lot of women. My man never ever.
Read? I don't know how to read, but I do know how to Facebook on the toilet. So just put the book in the toilet and say, read it.
Yeah. Or
don't point at me like that's what I do.
Well, I knew you were going to say that, because that's it. Or highlight a few things that you know, if he cannot sit there and read 300 pages or even 150 pages, highlight a few things, especially if you bought the book. Don't do that if you borrowed the book from the library. Anyway.
Guilty.
No, but we want to tell you a few that we have in our library, and there's several others we've rented from the library that we really like. But here's just
and some of them we own, actually. All of them we own.
All of these we own.
But wait, before we start showing you books, the reason why this is important is because honestly, I follow how to be a billionaire on Instagram and how to be wealthy on Instagram.
Clearly,
and
you're not a billionaire yet.
No, I'm following it. Entrepreneurial mindset, all of that stuff. And the one common thing that they always say.
Read.
Turn off the TV and read.
Read.
Every successful person, every billionaire reads way more than you think. I think Warren Buffett reads 7 different newspapers every morning. Mm-hmm. He reads. And so if they're doing that and they're being wealthy, you should at least pick... They're successful
in their business.
Yeah, you should at least pick one book and read it to have a successful marriage.
Yeah.
And we're going to give you a whole bunch of variety of them because, variety is a spice of life.
Mm-hmm. So I think if you've just been married or you don't really know where to start, I have this one. It's the 5 love languages for kids, but the 5 love languages for your spouse is really a good place to start. It's just kind of a basic of figuring out how your spouse.
Just read it backwards. So watch this video in the mirror, and it will all make sense.
There you go. How to how to love your spouse and really figure it out. And let's just move along. I really like this one. This guy, Ted Cunningham, this is Anger and Intimacy, From Anger to Intimacy. It was really, really good, especially if your spouse has anger issues. And a lot of us do. I don't think you have anger issues.
I know that you do, though.
Well,
yeah.
No, I don't.
I had to put steak on my eye last night.
Oh, stop it. Anyway, Ted Cunningham, he does a lot of marriage books. He really focuses on that.
And he's a really good writer, and he's really entertaining. Here's another one of his books.
Fun Loving You. It's just a really good way of, and I've highlighted a lot of stuff in here. I put that in the bathroom.
And this is a quick, easy read.
It is
yes,
quick.
I've read this whole entire book in the bathroom.
Yep.
Okay, I'll tell you which ones I haven't read in the bathroom.
We really like this one. We really like Mark Driscoll. Him and his wife, Grace, they love each other to death, and they've been married for over 25 years. This is real and raw, and it has a lot of stuff about what to do in the bedroom, what not to do in the bedroom, what's appropriate, just respecting one another, loving one another. It's a really good one. Real Marriage by Mark Driscoll. We really like that one.
Yep.
Love and Respect. I will say, as Cooks Illustrated, recommended with reservations. I like it because it does give you a sense of how a man and a woman each like and receive love outside of the love languages.
But this is specifically written from a man's point of view.
It is.
And
so it's a little more woman respect me.
Yeah.
But
woman.
It's not like
it's
not a dominance one or anything. And he does hit it from God's standpoint. But we've had a marriage counselor say that it may not be the end all, but it was a good read. Just, you pick and choose, take it with a grain of salt.
I'll get into that in the last book that we discussed.
This one, this is heavy reading.
I've only gotten to where this is at.
I know. And I think half the book is just resources and references because it is very heavy duty. God, marriage, and family. And it really gets to the nitty gritty meat of marriage, why marriage exists, why it was intended, the whole mystery of marriage. And I think it's a beautiful book, but it is heavy reading. Don't drop my book.
No,
I thought you were going to drop it. Drop the mic.
This came from the marriage counselor that we went to. And this is one that he wanted us to read before we even did any of the coaching. It's a college level book. So be prepared for that. I would say the rest of them are fairly easy compared to this one. A lot of these pages I'm reading over and over again just to see how it clicks in my brain.
Yeah.
Again, amazing book, college level reading. Just be ready for a thesaurus.
That's a good way to say. Yeah, it's very meaty.
Yeah.
Which one do you want me to hit next?
Oh, you can hit that one.
Okay. So Fierce Marriage was recommended to us. It's okay. I think it's a little light, but for people that are not marriage coaches, it's great.
Yeah.
Sometimes you've read everything, and this is a good place to start too. So same with the love languages. This is a good place to start. Really diving deep into what the point of marriage is, but also getting fun and having fun. And they go through their life. So you kind of see their life story through this. And this is a good one. And it's got some questions at the end of each chapter.
It's a testimonial marriage helping book.
That's a good way to put it.
I would do it together as a devotional.
Yeah, that's a good way.
And here's another devotional.
This was one of the first ones. We took our marriage life group through this one. It's called Strip Down. It's discovering and unlocking 13 keys to intimacy in your marriage. And they talk about financial intimacy, emotional, spiritual, physical, recreational, of course, physical and sexual, but a lot of different ways. And if you check it out, it's actually super easy read. Yeah. I mean, look at this.
This is a couple's devotional. I would do it that way.
Yeah, you write down things in it. I've dog-eared things. I've underlined things. There's suggestions on dates. It is a really fun book. It's a fun book.
This comes from the couple that we first went online and they did marital coaching. They did 60 days of sex. This is the couple where we get our 7-day of sex challenge. They do a 60, 30, and 7-day of sex challenge.
I love how our teenager came out just as
right,
you said that, sex. And then he just went back.
Yeah, what's sex? I'm out.
I'm not.
My teenager has the book that I promoted when we first started doing this, which is the book I Can Read You Like a Book, and that it literally talks about body language. I think it's good for all men to read that book because this is like 90% body language and 10% whatever comes out of her mouth. Maybe 5% emotional, 5%
good
whatever.
Way to put it.
But it's a really good thing so that I could read her a little bit better based on how she's looking at me. Based on, not even a word. I could tell when something's wrong just because of her body language. And I know that you can get that intuitively by spending a lot of time, but this book helps you understand most people, if you spend a little
I
time
didn't
with
bring that
them,
one up.
then
Yeah.
then you could actually read their body language. So it's I Can Read You Like a Book, and it's done by a body language expert that is for the CIA.
Dan,
so
somebody,
you
I
can't
think.
be wrong. Okay.
Tim,
And then here's an odd one.
Here's an odd one. So take this one with a grain of salt, cautiously. This is called the Mirror of Intimacy. It is a, this is what it looks like. You can kind of look it on. It's a daily thing. So there's something daily. Like this is talking about size, isolation, serenity, sentimentality, touch. And then it's got like 3 things, healthy sex acts or discovery. I'm saying take this cautiously only because it is a little new agey. So some of the stuff like, maybe karma, I might skip over, but it does have some good points, way to discover your own sexuality so that you can have a healthy sex life with your partner.
Yeah, I would say that this is a non-Christian book. So,
Definitely
and the rest of them
non-Christian.
that we've done is given from the Christian standpoint.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you're watching and you're not a Christian, then here's this book for you. If you're watching and you are a Christian, take what you can and leave the rest out.
Or if you're not a Christian, you'd like to know a little bit more about Christian marriage and what God feels of marriage, absolutely.
Any one of them.
Really good
and
as
so,
well.
yeah, that's kind of that's I think where I wanted to come to as where we are systemically. That I think we all have to agree everything inside of a book rather than just going, hey, that's going to work for me and that's not going to work for me. And that we should be adults
You're
and
saying
go,
we don't all agree everything
Yeah,
in
yeah.
every book.
yeah, I don't
Oh,
agree
yeah.
with everything in
Oh,
all of
I
these
forgot
books,
this
but
one,
I'm going to take what's good and apply it. And then what's not good, I'm going to throw it away.
Yes.
And you should do that with your life, with almost everything,
Except this book.
except that one.
I wouldn't do it with this book. And that's me, and that's our family. I think the Bible, Ephesians 5, there's some really good points on marriage and how marriage is holy and it was designed by God. So I think that's amazing. I always, did you want to say something? I want to
Yes.
say one more thing about
So
this.
the Bible, if you are a non-Christian and you are reading the Bible for your marriage, every time you could just read the New Testament, and how Jesus relates to the church is how you're supposed to relate to your spouse.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Husbands to wives.
Husbands to wives, wives to husbands, same thing. So just kind of understand, and there's a whole book about sex in here. Read
No,
Song of Solomon.
Yeah, book
Yeah,
names.
whole entire book about sex. Oral sex, naked, touching, fondling. It's awesome. Sex is important. It's actually in the book. And so, yeah, it's our desire that you know Jesus, and we're not going to push that down your throat. But read this book. This is the best book ever,
Best
and it's
book.
alive.
Yeah, it is alive. And the one I'm reading right now, our pastor had mentioned it a little while
It's a
ago.
horrible book.
And no, it's not.
Just
But I just haven't read it yet. So I've just started it a few days ago. I really like it. I think it has a lot of meat in it as well. The Meaning of Marriage by Timothy Keller.
Yep.
It's also very good. And just even what I've started with, I know it's
The
going to be
couple
a
of
great
chapters
book.
we read
But
are
here's
great.
the point.
Point.
We're reading. We're not just reading because we're coaches. We're reading because we are coaches. But we're reading because we want to grow this all the time. I want to tend to this all the time. And by learning different things, by learning from different people and putting those things into practice and figuring out how to communicate with you better and spending time with you, all of this is tending to your marriage, the most important relationship on this planet. It is so important to everything else in your life.
It is.
And when you forget to tend to it, it will die.
Yeah, weeds
It
grow
will
up.
die. Weeds will grow up.
If you don't tend your
Things
garden,
will come in, and little rabbits and foxes will come in and eat
Yeah.
stuff in your garden. You don't want that. You don't want anybody else in your marriage.
no,
So I think that's
or
that's our
anything
takeaway.
else in your marriage.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, Tom, we do talk about sex, and I do wear funny hats, and sometimes it gets a little dirty. But that's the whole entire point of marriage. Marriage is fun.
It's fun.
Marriage can have funny hats. Marriage is a little dirty, and you got to kind of get into it to get the most out of it.
I had a friend the other day say, marriage can be dirty, ugly, and gross sometimes. And you know what? It can.
Mhm.
That's in arguments. That can be in trying to figure out parenting. That's in a sick or illness or whatever. It can, and it's not perfect. It's not happily ever after, but it's work and it's worth it.
Mhm.
It's absolutely worth it.
One of the biggest things in our marriage that has saved our marriage over and over again would be our relationship with Jesus.
Mm.
Because we have a relationship with Jesus, and we know that each other has a relationship with Jesus, and that's really the binding things that
Right.
helps us to forgive, to give grace,
Yeah.
to give mercy. And so that's an example of why why we are Christians and how that works in a successful marriage, because you are constantly forgiving, you're constantly giving grace, and you're constantly giving mercy to one another over and over again. And that's what Jesus did for you. So that's kind of the whole point. Marriage, Jesus and the church is a great example of how your marriage is supposed to be. And so this is what you could do with a chicken. You could bug Tom because he has 100 of them, and he'll kill one and ship it to you no matter where you are.
Oh my word. No, my poor little chickens. They're so
but
cute out there.
I did want to say that we are, if you need some marital help, we are SYMBIS certified, and
Which is
we
an
are
a marriage assessment.
It's an assessment. So it takes kind of a snapshot of where you guys are right now, and it gives you a lot of actual things to talk through. And we actually will do that through you over the internet. So if you would like to go through a little bit of marital coaching, then private message us and we'll send you the link. It's $35, and that's what their fee is to go through the assessment. It's algorithmic, so it's pretty cool.
It is.
We've done it, and it hit us spot on.
Wow.
And I tried to trick the thing, and it didn't really
It
work.
was amazing.
Yeah.
So you did? You tried to trick
yeah, if you are interested in that, please message us privately, and then we will send you the link. And then, again, we'll just kind of go through it with you. If you're local, we'll meet you. If you are not local, we'll do it online publicly so the world can see. No, we'll just do it online privately with Skype and stuff. Yeah, and if you haven't gone on a date before, go to our Ever, because I don't know how you guys met. Arranged? Maybe? All right, go to getdatebox.com and type in Half a Marriage 50 for 50% off of your first date. They do indoor dates and outdoor dates.
All right. We love you guys. Read a book a year on your marriage, love, sex.
Honestly, you should just be reading a book a year.
Right.
But if you're only going to read one, read the Bible.
Yeah.
But if you're not going to read that, then read one on your marriage.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's reading. You've done it a lot.
Pretty much every day of your life.
Yeah. Or if you're like me and you get more out of listening, then listen to
audiobook.
it. Listen,
Get an
audiobook
audiobook.
it. You know what I mean? I learn better by hearing, so I listen to the Bible daily. So, all
We
right.
love you guys, and we will see you next Monday.
No more chicken!